Yo, it's Terrell, Hall of Fame, D-Line, TBKC, and all that good other sweet, beautiful wonder. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Shit. Anyway, man, I'm tweaking. I'm over here drinking this crack cocaine, and it's got me. I'm actually about to do an hour of cardio. I got some blood work I need to get done, so I'm trying to get it out the way earlier. But I tell you what, this video is speaking on whether you can destroy a dog's conformation with the way that you treat the dog. A good friend of mine actually requested this video, so we'll go along with this. Absolutely. Now, a dog is much like a kid. A puppy is much like a kid, where they're growing, the bones are soft, the growth plates are not closed. So with this comes a certain level of nutrition that's necessary. A certain level. Now, if you overfeed the dog and you also heard me speak on this before, if you overfeed the dog and the dog is too heavy, what happens with that dog being too heavy is that, you know, of course, the bones can bend and contort and deform in ways that they typically wouldn't be without the excess of weight. That's why you see sometimes splayed feet, because the dog was so heavy on those paws while they were soft that it made them spread open. You see the bowed legs, you can see the sway back, where a lot of times you see that dip in the back, and it's too much weight in the gut, so it's pulling down. And at this point in time, like I say, the bones are still soft, they're not locked in and totally, you know, mature, so it allows the weight of the stomach to pull down on the back. It can also adversely affect the rear hips. You know, it can definitely affect the hips because of the weight pulling at it, and the hip is a ball and socket sort of joint. So at that point in time, it's in there, but it's causing extra wear as this joint develops. And of course, with that extra wear at a young age, it affects it later on to even the way that the dog walks. You know, the dog will contort its body because it's uncomfortable, and the body adjusts because it's growing. So, you know, all of these things are hand in hand. You can definitely destroy your dog with making it too heavy, with not enough exercise, or with over-exercising. That's right, I said over-exercise. I've seen this trend now where a lot of people want to put a lot of weights, and I'm talking about like weightlifting, on their dogs at a young age. It's silly. You don't need to do that. Let the dog grow. Let the dog not do anything for at least a year. I really say closer to 18 months to 2 years, you know, because it's a time where the growth plates haven't closed, the bones are softer. By pulling and stressing the dog with this excess weight on it, you can cause injuries. You know, you can cause injuries, and you can cause deformities, and it's just not necessary. Because if you allow your dog to feed and have a good diet, you know, and basic exercise, just running around, playing with the ball, doing normal things, he'll grow. Those bones will harden up, the joints will tighten up, everything, growth plates close down, and at that point in time, whatever he was genetically programmed to do, he or she, they will do as far as size goes. You know, I've had dogs, speaking on my Mastiffs, I had some of my Mastiffs that actually, you know, at about a year old, I mean, they were big at about a year old. He was still 100 and maybe 30 pounds, but he was a leaner 130 pounds, you know, and his brothers were a lot bigger than him. But I kept him on what the diet was supposed to be, a large breed diet, which large breed diets are always lower in calories and stuff, because they don't want large breeds to be overwhelmed with food. If you look, the miniature dogs, the small dogs, actually have a higher calorie content, higher protein, everything, because they need it, because they're so tiny. You know, they need as much fat and everything on their body to keep going, because that's the way they're built. But you know, he was about 130-ish pounds, and his brothers in pretty good size. You know, they had him outweighed by 25 to 30 pounds. Well, long story short, by the time he got to maturity, he was right around like 200 pounds. And his brothers had pretty much flat lined out, and they were, you know, about 180-ish, you know. And the bodies, all of them look good, you know, all of them look good, but my boy looked a lot more muscular. His conformation was a lot better. And, you know, the brothers, you could start to see sort of the deformities on them. They move slower, where my dog had a more athletic run. And when I say my Mastiffs, I'm talking about a South African Bordeaux. But, you know, he was huge, you know. I mean, well, but yeah, I'm gonna keep saying was like he's dead, but you know, big dog, you know. But at the end of the day, you have to take care of the dog and allow it to grow into its proper form before putting on the weight. The outside things, and y'all have heard me preach this a million times, it doesn't matter. You know, you can feed your dog. I hate to drop this big ass bomb on the world, but you can feed your dog regular kibble. You know, you can feed your dog. Now I ain't saying go get puppy chow, but you know, but some people actually do feed puppy chow and their dogs look good. It's weird. But I'm not saying, you know, that you have to get the cheapest kibble, just feed them anything. But I'm saying, you know, good dog foods, Victor, Diamonds, you know, whatever you pick, Ukanuba. Those dog foods are all good for your dog and can sustain your dog to a good level. You don't have to add a bunch of stuff to try to make the dog bigger, because at the very end of it all, the dog's programmed to be what he's going to be. The dog, or he or she, you know, the dog will put on enough muscle. The dog will put on enough everything, and it looks so much better. It doesn't look bloated. You know, you have beautiful top line, beautiful structure. It comes in as muscle instead of fat at a more mature age. It's a better overall dog. We have to stop killing our puppy structure. We have to stop putting the excessive weight on their hearts and the kidneys and their liver. You know, you giving all these supplements, and that's not what the dog, it's hard for the dog to process that. A lot of these dogs are dying at a young age of like kidney failure and stuff because of all this shit we just pumping into them. Either get you a dog with genetics to be big, or just accept the fact that your dog might not be as big, but your dog will be wonderfully healthy. But until next time, man, I'll catch up with y'all. Much love. Peace.